Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Sarvepi Sukhina Santu Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashit Dukhma Pima. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvi Navaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you friends, and today is a very auspicious day, Ganesh Chaturthi. आप सबको गणपति की ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं. और I am indeed grateful for lots of acknowledgement, appreciation coming across the country for Broker Ki Paathshala. This is a platform for brokers, and we are inviting people who have been successful in this industry and sharing their actual life story, which helps next generation to see the business from different perspective. As I said, this is the first season, and we are having a 10th session in this season, and today is the 8th session. And as I committed earlier, those people who will be attending minimum 8 sessions are going to get participation certificate from Broker Ki Paathshala, which will help you in your career. So if you have already attended all 8 sessions, please send your details to us so that we will prepare the participation certificate. Not necessary you have to attend live. If you have seen all sessions online, you can still send your details. We would love to send you the participation certificate. And before I invite our today's speaker, Mr. Farook Mahmood, let me share a video for him, for all of you to know him better, so that our conversation will have more meaning. Can we have a video?
It takes courage to follow the path of your passion, but it takes a true leader to build such a path for others to follow. Such is the story of Farook Mahmood, President FIAPSI, who in his tenure has proven his virtue as a true leader, leaving a long-lasting impression in the history of FIAPSI. From joining FIAPSI as its active member to traversing the path through and becoming the world president-elect, today Farook Mahmood has his name etched on the list of pronounced presidents of FIAPSI. 65 countries came together and elected Farook Mahmood as the world president-elect of FIAPSI in the year 2016 at Panama. And from there was no looking back for Farook. At the 68th FIAPSI World Congress in Andorra, Farook Mahmood became the first Indian to be elected as FIAPSI World President for 2017-2018. And since then, it has been a progressive, fruitful, and spectacular journey.
Dear President Farook, your passion to FIAPSI was the main reason for the successes you achieved during this year.
As president of FIAPSI, Farook Mahmood traveled across the globe to over 45 countries and 80 cities, attending over 80 events and meeting several world leaders in the realm of realty and infrastructure development, opening the doors of various partnership possibilities for many international cities. Together with the FIAPSI family, Farouk has trotted the globe, making dreams a reality for so many cities who are now proud members of the FIAPSI family. The more recent members of the FIAPSI family are South Africa, Turkey, Mongolia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and more. To execute the plan of Vision 2020, the FIAPSI family has attained an exponential growth in terms of associate membership of more than 1 million, raising over 150,000 euros of sponsorship. Farouk has played a vital role in greatly expanding the global exposure of FIAPSI and its members.
Farook Mahmood, as world president, has done really exceptional year and visiting many countries and providing all the new implementations that FIAPSI is bringing to the real estate industry around the world. I think this year was really exceptional. It was a great pleasure working together with him.
The milestone in the history of FIAPSI was written when the organization inaugurated its headquarters at Paris. Holding hands of the members, Farouk has come a long way and continues to proceed further, fulfilling the Vision 2020 for FIAPSI. As the president of a global organization, Farouk has held the family of FIAPSI together with deep passion, imparting strong values of real estate business while also helping his peers to proceed with pride.
The qualities of our world president are his patience and his positivity.
He's a strong leader. He has incredible knowledge about our business. He has great relationships all over the world. He's traveled around the globe 3 times on behalf of FIAPSI. He's devoted his whole year to the growth and success of FIAPSI.
I can't imagine myself being anything else than what I am right now. If I had to live another life, I'd live a life of a person connected with real estate.
Being with him in most of these activities would always been gratifying because he's focused, knowledgeable, hardworking, and result-oriented. Yes, he also knows how to have fun, making our trips more enjoyable. He's very hands-on and always willing to assist on any task for the federation.
Thank you for your support. The more we know our President Farouk Mahmood, the more we will admire his working experience and quality. To work with him as FIAPSI board member, we all know everything can be achieved in the way we want, because this is his amazing personality.
Admire very much how Farouk is working. He's very wise in his decisions. He always gives the floor to everyone to hear their opinions, and he is always the last one who will say the word, as it's very important to hear the voice of everyone.
The quality of projects that have been filtered and brought to this as winners are far superior than the other years.
This man, who is constantly on a mission to mold the real estate industry, today stands as an epitome of inspiration for anyone who knows him.
I think real estate, I breathe real estate, I drink real estate, I eat real estate, and I live real estate.
Thank you, friends. So it gives me immense pleasure to welcome one of the most stylish realtor, uh, one of the most outstanding leader who represented India to the global real estate world. And I know Mr. Farook Mahmood for almost last 12 years. And I really admire for his passion for real estate, his contribution to the organization he works with, and he's most stylish realtor I have come across. I admire you, Mr. Farook Mahmood. Thank you very much for your kind consent and to be present with us at Broker Ki Paathshala.
Thank you, Vinod.
So I know you for last 12 years. Many of our realtors across India knows you for last 12 years. But what we know is the one side of Mr. Farook Mahmood as a professional realtor, his contribution to the world in real estate organization. But today we are going to unveil the actual human being, a different human being of Mr. Farook Mahmood. So tell us your story to our viewers. You know, I'm sure this will going to encourage and inspire many people. So how it all started, this real estate in your family?
Well, I must start by acknowledging and thanking God for His mercy and His blessings onto me and my family. And it is His sheer blessings that I am where I am today, and the blessings of my parents and my well-wishers and my elders that God has been kind to me. तो हमारे यहाँ एक कहावत होती है, if you permit me, I will उसमें कहते हैं कि अल्लाह मेहरबान तो गदा पहलवान. तो there's nothing much to say except that it's God's grace that I am where I am, and I had no real role to play there except that when I walked, the path was clear, and it was my hurdles became my best steps to climb up. So these hurdles, these rocks that were in my presence were my stepping stones to success.
Great.
And God has been kind.
Real estate in your family started by your
my father.
So can you share in what year and how he started real estate?
Well, I think you see, our family business was furniture, where we used to be responsible for hiring out furniture, dealing in second-hand furniture. And we had contracts with companies in those days like Siemens and Myco had a tie-up with Siemens. So Myco set up a factory in Bangalore in the early 60s, late 50s, I think. I wasn't even born then. So my father had some good connect with Myco. And all the German families who would be visiting Bangalore, when they would go away, they would leave the house to us, to my father, to sell all the effects, because taking the stuff back, whether it was a pin to a refrigerator, I don't think there must have been a couple of 100 refrigerators in Bangalore those days, from a washing machine to a cooking range.
Yes.
So A to Z, my father would take care of it. His modus operandi would be the Sunday morning newspaper in Deccan Herald. There would be a for sale column where I still remember 15 words used to cost 10 rupees. And that advertisement cost would be borne by the company.
Correct.
And my father would get a 10% commission on whatever sales that would be conducted. And all monies would be collected in the name of the employee of Myco and deposited in his account. Myco Bosch. So I still remember, the ad would say, German family leaving Bangalore, selling household effects. Inspection from 7 a.m. onwards till stocks last. So by 11:30, 12, everything would be sold out. People would come, buy the stuff, and that was it. So I think it's a part-time thing. My dad had a board estate agent there in his showroom. And that's what got me intrigued in it. And when people would ask him, do you have anything to sell or buy? He would kind of facilitate and do transactions with them. And what I did was I got into the business, which my father kind of laid the foundation. And I've kind of put a couple of bricks on that to grow it.
Great. So what was that year when you joined? And how about your education, your schooling? How was Mr. Farook Mahmood as a student in the school?
Terrible. Well, I was never an academic person. Till 7th, I used to get first class. Till the 7th standard for the public exam in the 7th. But after that, it was a disastrous failure. My educational background is nothing much, no accolades or nothing much to talk about, except that, I was more playful and I was more, my exams would mean that tomorrow, if the exam is there, I would start one night before to study.
Great.
And
So,
I would manage to get through. So the whole year I would play the fool. But this is not advice to any of the younger generation that I would give to emulate or follow, because this is a terrible thing to do. And God has been kind to me and I've been lucky, but this is not the pattern that one should choose. I think one should be more dedicated and more concentrated. And that's one of the reasons that I'm involved with education. And, we have a foundation, a Silverline Foundation, and I was a part of another organization which we supported 60,000 scholarships every year. And this would be a charity money that we collect from different philanthropists and distribute it. So the message is very, 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 very clear.
Yes.
Do not ignore your education. I'm one of those misfits or one of those odd ones out who might have been that, but that's not the path that I would lay out or recommend to anybody.
True. But you were very good in sports, if I'm not wrong.
Well, I was playful in nature. So I represented Karnataka State in the junior hockey team for Karnataka in my high school days. I used to go early morning at 5:30 for practice at the Kantirwa Stadium in Cubbon Park in Bangalore every morning religiously 7 days a week. Excellent. And then come home, have breakfast and go to school.
So, history has shown, Farooq bhai, every individual had got some outstanding quality in him or her. It all depends on how you're pursuing that particular thing, how you're following that thing. So look at the great Sachin Tendulkar, the great Virendra Sehwag. And we have lots of, great leaders from different walks of life who were not very good in education, but they could at very right age, fine-tune their strength and identified their strength, and then they follow that particular road, and they made a big difference to that particular area of life. I think same I can see in your case. Though you said you are not good in education, but at a right age you can identify real estate as your path road for your life, and you have created an amazing story in your life, which can be followed by many realtors across India. And you're a great brand ambassador to India, the first Indian to become a world president in FIAPSI. It's an amazing story, sir. So which year you joined your dad? I mean, what really attracted you in real estate?
I just want to correct. I never said I was not good in education. I was good in education, but I was playful and I was, not very attentive towards it. I saw other priorities in my life, which were more interesting to me than concentrating and being a bookworm. So that's what I just wanted to clarify. I joined the business when I was in school itself. I used to go every evening to my dad's store, which was known as the Furniture House. It was a place, St. Mark's Road, a very prominent business location, and better known in those days as South Parade, near the parade grounds. So I would go to my dad's store and help him in the evening, dust the furniture, clean up, sit down there, and just chill out doing nothing. So 1979, when I finished my school, I joined my dad's business. And from that perspective, he had started the real estate business, and it's his contacts, and people knew who he was and who the family was. And I think it was, I wouldn't say easy, but I think all the hurdles that appeared to be hurdles, I just had to walk through them. And God has been kind, ever so kind in everything that he has done for me.
But I think your dad's 25, 30 years relationship with, all those flat owners who were, renting their apartment and then selling through furniture. That relationship must be the main important things for starting real estate business. That will help. That would have been really great help to you.
Yes, people knew
Yes.
that he's so and so's from so and so family kind of a thing, and it's not just my father. My grandfather was the founder president of the Century Club in Bangalore. He was the first Rotary Club. He was the first founder president of the Rotary in Bangalore.
Oh, amazing!
And he started the first orphanage, organized orphanage there in Bangalore. I mean, there are many firsts that my grandfather did, and so the family was known. But I think one has to go through the grind, and everybody has to go through it. But I think it's been a memorable journey. So I still remember my first transaction.
Yeah, please share.
Whitefield, which is now a technology hub of Bangalore, is about 20 odd kilometers.
Yes.
And I had to cycle to just go and see a property for an inspection and come back.
Right.
I remember, I'm not too sure. I think the name of the lady who owned that property was one Mrs. Phillips, who was a descendant of a British or maybe an Anglo-Indian lady who wanted to sell it. And she had visited my father's store and told him. So my dad said, go and inspect this. So I had two options: take the bus or take, cycle. So I chose to cycle there. Right. And I still remember it was a Sunday afternoon, and it was around 12 noon, and I was breathless when I reached the house. Over an hour plus to reach there, and then saw the property. I was lucky enough to sell the property at 80,000 rupees. Wow. Those days. And it was a 25,000 square feet property with an old colonial house. Okay. But the best part was the buyer and seller knew each other, and they shortchanged me in the transaction, and they just paid me half the commission because they knew each other. So this is a part of life that we've accepted and moved on with.
Excellent. Okay. Any other good memory in those initial days, which actually helped you to, learn something great, which has helped you in your life throughout your journey?
I think my dad, was a very silent and calm man. He passed away about 2.5, 3 years ago at the age of 103 plus. So I would, when I joined business, I asked him, I said, Abba, I don't know how to go about with this particular thing. He said, listen, I'm an old-fashioned man. And if I tell you something in today's modern world, it may not be apt because I'm not a man of the world. I don't understand the way things work here. But I can tell you only one thing. If God has provided food for the ant underneath the rock, so I don't think you should worry too much about food and, money. Continue to be honest and keep working, and God will find a way for you to progress, and things will work out. And that is all the guidance. He told me, if I tell you something, you might tell me it's outdated, it's not the way things are done, and this is how you'll have your own point of view, because we always used to argue about how things should be done in the store and things like that. And he would eventually leave it to me and say, you decide whatever is best, and do it. But remember one thing, that honesty and sincerity, you can never go wrong with these two things. So I think this is the only mantra of success that I can tell you. Honesty and sincerity, if you do work with, then the rest is very, very easy. I mean, people then can see, once they scrape the surface, they'll know who you are and what you are. You can be sweet in the beginning with quinine below, but after the first few meetings, you'll know what it is. So I think honesty, integrity, and sincerity, you can't go wrong with this formula at all.
Very good. I think their effects are same in any generation. Amazing.
Yes.
So those days, the name of your company was, what was the name of the company?
Well, it was known as Furniture House. And when I joined the real estate business, I added the word agency to it to give it a more professional. Otherwise, we were known as Furniture House, and we used to deal in second-hand furniture, and we used to let out furniture on rent, and provide home furniture for people who were shifting into Bangalore at those days. So it's not a business which is I mean, we used to run that business for quite a few years until about 10, 15 years back, we kind of stopped doing it. But otherwise, that was our core business.
So when did you move from that furniture house to separate real estate agency, your Silverline? When was the Silverline born?
Silverline was born, I think, early 90s.
Okay. An initial transaction must be of lands, I think. Tell us about Bangalore. In those times, 40 years back, and now Bangalore, what kind of transition and transformation you can share in few lines about Bangalore city?
Well, what is the rent per square foot now was the price of land.
Wow.
Those days. I still remember selling, I stay in an area known as Jai Mahal. And my son has a house which he bought about 10 years ago. I remember that was one of the few transactions that I did in my early years. And I think I sold land there at 27 rupees a square foot. Today it's 25,000 rupees a square foot. So
25,000 square feet.
Yes, 27 rupees a square foot I have sold land. I've sold land in Indiranagar 100 feet road at 40 rupees a square foot. Today, the rent there for a showroom, monthly rent is about 200 rupees plus per square foot.
Amazing.
So the transformation is unimaginable. I mean, these numbers are, I don't think I'll ever get to see these kind of numbers ever again.
True. So now that gap is narrowing down in terms of appreciation for real estate. So can you remember any initial, who was the first developer you did transaction of land? I heard once we were interacting and you spoke me about Ravi Purvankara coming to you and you went on bike to show him some land. Share that story. I think it's amazing. It was amazing.
Well, most of the public listed companies who are in Bangalore have had very humble beginnings there, and they've all been very, very hardworking, very sincere, very dedicated. Most of the Bangalore developers who have, been national companies today. And I think we've all worked with them, and we've, on a one-on-one basis, and, the results are there. They're now listed companies on the stock exchange.
Yes.
And I have many stories, whether it's whether it's Shobha or Prestige or a Purvankara or Raheja Group. I've had very, very close relationship with most of these companies since the inception of my career, and of course their growth has been phenomenal. And we've just been brokers and things like that, but it's been nice to see that this kind of a growth of your city and the people who have been around you. And you've been one of the cogs in the wheel of this industry to see it from the inception. I mean, before me, they've been brokers, and extremely good and honest brokers. I mean, my father was one.
Yes.
Then there was another Mr. Hussain, who is the founder of our organization of Bangalore Realtors Association. Another was Mr. Dara C. Shroff, a Parsi gentleman who was a very dear friend of mine.
Yes.
Very, very, I would say one of the leading figures of the industry, organized real estate industry. Then Mr. Mohammed of Mohammed's Estate Agency. These were 4 or 5 people who were there, who were controlling the Bangalore real estate industry.
True.
And one trait about all these people were, they were extremely honest, and they were, I can't even tell you the level of honesty. I'll share an experience of one Mr. Hussain,
Yes.
who I would say who has been a kind of a father figure and a mentor to me. Though I never worked for any of these people, my boss was my dad.
Yes.
But I used to go to their offices every day to collect information. And Mr. Hussain would open, earlier on, we never had computers and things like that. So there was a book
Yes.
with cards on, and his typist used to sit down and type the information. So he used to tell me, Baba, ye information aaya hai, aap dekh ke le lo, jo nahi hai, le lo information. So I used to take a notepad, write down all the information. And he used to tell me, write down even the owner ka number bhi likh lo, telephone number.
Wow.
So he would give me that trust, have that much of trust in me to say that, he was a kind of a far-off relative of my father, but we shared a very good relationship with him till the day he died.
That's
And
it was not usual for broking community to
and
give resources too much.
yes, trust. Trust was the only thing that was. He would give me the entire register and say, take whatever information you want. And I remember once, this is one thing that I learned from him. And I was sitting down in his office when somebody came, and he gave him an envelope with some notes of some 1,000 or 1,500 rupees in the late 70s, early 80s, maybe 80, 81. And the man said, "ये क्या है सेठ साहब?" तो he said, "नहीं, ये information तुम मुझे दिए थे, वो transaction होगा, तुम 6 महीने से नहीं आए, तो आपका share commission का है ये."
क्या बात है?
So he had kept it on an envelope, written down his name there. So when he came, the first thing he did was put that envelope on his table. The man was so moved. And this happened to me once. There was another gentleman by the name of Mr. Niazi, an elderly gentleman who was a broker. And he didn't have an office, but he would come and give the information. So he came and gave me this information once, and we sold that site. So I had kept that money. He landed up, and when he came to my office, I gave him the cover. The man cried. He cried because he said, for the past 3 months, I've had no business. I have no money. I was sick. My wife passed away, or something close. Some family member passed away. And the commission that I had put in the cover was some 700 or 800 rupees commission that I gave him. He virtually wept, and he took that commission and went. So these are things that, we've learned from elders who we've worked with, to see that, that honesty has been the keystone to this success.
Very true. So your brother Zahid also joined you. So which year Zahid joined you? And why he joined real estate, not something else? Bangalore is an IT hub, A lot of youngsters are attracted towards IT in those times. So what made Zahid to join real estate?
I think Zahid is the educated guy in our house. He's the man who controls the money. He's the man who runs the organization. He is my boss as far as controlling of money. He's the one who fires me every time I overspend. He is the man who has been the balancing factor. I'm the impulsive guy, and he's the more logical, more level-headed.
Yes.
He's the one who controls the reins of the horse that runs.
Very, very apt, you said about him. Yeah. So when did he join?
He joined in after he finished his BCom, but he used to come to the office and be with my dad and me. And in the evening, he used to go to evening college. I did his commerce, and he went to the evening college. So daytime he would spend in the office with us. Wow. So I think it was 3 or 4 years later after I joined business, though the age gap is 2 years difference between him and me. But I treat him more as a kid brother and a son than actually a brother.
Very true. So now when I heard that your 2 sons, Zain and Danish, they are also part of real estate.
Yes.
Tell them about them. So when did they join?
Zain and Danish both joined the business. Zain does land banking, and Danish has started the construction division.
Wow.
Danish did his part of his education in London, and Zain has also accomplished a lot of accomplished the land banking part of the business, and the marketing aspect of it looked after by him. Mm-hmm. Danish runs the construction aspect of the business, and both independently do things. Great. But the boss that they report to is Zahid, and I also report to Zahid because I've been absconding from India for the past 8-10 years because of either NAR India, Bangalore Realtors Association, ICRIA, FIAPSI, or any of these things. For the past 8-10 years, I've been more out of the country than in the country. So from that perspective, Danish has developed a couple of buildings in Bangalore. He's very quality conscious. Zain has also got an eye for detail. both the kids have their own spaces that they have created niches for themselves where they have kind of been masters in their own way. And I think time will tell how things unveil.
Okay. So now Silverline, you along with Zayed, what kind of business you are into? You are into residential, commercial, you do project marketing. Tell us more about your professional this thing, verticals which you are working, and what kind of team you are having right now in Bangalore.
We work with jack of all trades, as I always say, and everything under the sun is what we work as far as real estate is concerned, whether it's warehousing, commercial, real estate, office, IT spaces, business centers, retail, malls. I mean, everything that is there, we have had a small part to play in whichever verticals that have been there. And the key to this whole thing has been, we've had transactions on commercial, we've had transactions, largest transactions at any point of time we've done we've been, I wouldn't like to sound and blow my trumpet, but when I joined business initially, I did 100 site layout and sold it to one company.
Wow.
100 sites, we sold it to one company, and then the company built, and out of that 25% of those houses were sold by us those days again.
Very good.
In a place known as Indranagar,
Yeah.
where we sold 100 sites at that point of time. And if I tell you how much I sold those 100 sites for, you would be amazed.
True.
100 sites I sold for 75 lakhs.
Wow.
And each house we sold there for 5 lakhs and 3.5 lakhs. So that's the beginning. Then we did large transactions for multinationals like Siemens.
Yes.
Their IT facilities, though there were IPCs at that point of time, but because of our service, we were also invited to pitch in, and of course the credit goes to my brother for following up with these companies and doing the business. We have done very, very large transactions for large companies. And we've also done sales for developers where we've sold 200 apartments in a day, 300 apartments in a day on the launch of a product.
Wow. Amazing.
And we've been there in every sphere of real estate. So it doesn't sound very nice to talk about it. It sounds like you're blowing your trumpet.
It inspires other realtors, to know about that. So what do you think when you started that at that time there was no technology? And now, especially in last 4 months, we have seen that if you're not with technology, if you're not adopted in your organization, it is very difficult to move forward in today's world. So what is your view on technology, which has changed the business in real estate the way it was? And what kind of technology you have adopted in your organization?
I think technology has always played some part or the other in business. When I started business, there used to be only a telephone, and that to a fixed phone.
Yes.
And the numbers were 5 digits. I still remember my number was 51284. Then it became 751284. Then it became 2751. And after that, we lost count. Then we had pagers when we were in business. So when we used to move around, the office secretary would call up and say, please call, or one ping, and I would go to the nearest public phone there, call up and check out what's the message that they need to pass on.
True.
There were no mobile phones. So we've evolved with business. Technology in whichever way has always been there.
True.
And technology will always be there. But one shouldn't forget that technology without the human factor is no good, because the feet or the hands on the ground are the things that conclude the transaction. Technology just is a tool that helps you do it. So just with technology, I know companies have been doing business, but in my view and my personal experience, technology along with the human factor is what is the game changer.
Great. Mr. Farook, tell our viewers about the organization you have worked with in last, especially 20 years. I think your contribution to different organizations have been amazing. and what kind of learning and relationship you built across the world. Tell us about that.
Sir, there are too many organizations that I've been involved with, but if you want me to speak, I've been president or a leader or a part of maybe about 25 organizations and things like
Maybe
that. But
with real estate, you can talk about 3, 4, which are very, very important and made a big difference in your life also, in personal growth individually, from internal growth. It's like leadership, your communication skills.
okay, I'll share a couple of points about the Bangalore Realtors Association was the first organization that I was involved with.
Great.
And along with its other founders, I was one of the cogs in the wheel who worked towards growing that organization. And
that was in 2000.
Yes.
Yes.
And then it was the founding of National Association of Realtors. I was the founder president of that organization, and I've had many experiences where I was the first person who was instrumental in signing the bilateral agreement between the National Association of Realtors USA.
True.
We went to Las Vegas,
yes,
to sign the agreement. There were 5 of us who actually Naresh Malkani was the guy who approached me.
yes.
And I was in Singapore, I think, at that point of time. I had just come back from Singapore. Oh, I was in Singapore. I don't recollect. I got a call stating that we are in Bangalore. We'd like to meet you. We've got somebody from the US who wants to start an association. And I thought, Farouk, that if you can come over. But I wasn't free, or had just come in, so I couldn't. So what I did was, I think 2 months later or a month later, he called me up again. He said, we are in Delhi. So I flew to Delhi, went and met Norm Flynn, who was at that time the man who helped form National Association of Realtors,
yes.
and Dr. Rao, myself, Kishan Milani, Sachin Shroff, Mr. Mittal, and these were the 4 or 5 people who were there on the first meeting.
Sure.
And that's when the Foundation for National Association of Realtors was formulated. Of course, Ravi played a very pivotal role after that in the growth of the organization locally. And Dr. Rao, who was our chairman at that point of time, and Naresh were the key factors in driving this organization. And we signed the agreement in Shangri-La Hotel. I think it was a month of Ramzan. I was fasting. And I still remember the press interview conference that we had there. And it was a memorable event. And then we went to Las Vegas. Irshad, who represented Bangalore Realtors, along with me, came the next visit. My son came with me to Las Vegas. And I think it was Ayub also who was there, and Naresh. That's where we signed the first agreement with the NAR USA, the bilateral agreement. And at that point of time, we joined another organization, which was where NAR asked us to, that was known as ICREA, that was known as the International Consortium of Real Estate Association, which was the international wing of NAR. And I was the chairman, finally, of that organization, not because of my personal capacity, but because, and the same with as the world president of FIAPSI, they saw the face of India in me, and they saw India as the potential country. And I just happened to be the face around there for them to give me that role. I was elected as the chairman of ICREA, and much later, I had to fight 3 elections to reach the world president of FIAPSI. Wow. And that was because they saw me as the Indian ambassador who brought the Indian real estate on a global platform. And that's how I was chosen and elected as the president of FIAPSI. But all these associations had one common platform. Me being at the right time, at the right place, and me being associated with NAR India as its founder president, and me also being one of the founders of Bangalore Realtors Association. That's how NAR was formed, because of my association with Brai. And these are important stepping stones in my life and the organized growth of real estate, organized real estate in India. Real estate has always been a part of India, but the organized part of real estate growth has started with Bangalore, as far as I'm concerned, and the other founders who've come from different parts of different cities from their respective organizations. And all of us came together to create this on a national platform. And then the best thing possible that happened after the national platform was the international platform.
Yes. Excellent. So I think I have seen in that video that you traveled 45 countries in 1 year being the president of FIAPSI World and 70 cities. I mean, it's amazing. How could you do that? What kind of passion you have for traveling and especially for the organization? And that too, it's not easy, sir, to give so much of time and money also. So what drives you to do that?
Well, I think you've got to have it in you or you don't have to have it in you. If I would have concentrated this much on my business, maybe we would have been a listed company as far as broking was concerned. But my passion has been organized real estate to do something for the industry in my small way. I mean, there are others, pillars in this industry who've contributed. I've just been one of the cogs in the wheel.
True.
And whether it was BRI, whether it is NAR India, whether it is FIAPSI or ICRIA, our local organizations, whether it was Irshad, me, Ayub, or any of my colleagues on the board, we had one policy that we followed. We have not touched one naya paisa from the kitty of the organization for any travel or any expenses that we've done.
Amazing.
Even the expenses of hosting a meeting for years together, it was done in Irshad's office till we had our own office, and he used to be the host, and never has any of us charged anything to the organization for a tea, coffee, or snacks, or even traveled to any part of the city for any organization still today.
Super.
It is only when I became joined ICRIA that they would pay for certain part of the expenses.
Sure.
And FIAPSI, only when I was the world president, gave some amount of, I think it was some 100,000, 100,000, I'm not too sure. I think about 100,000 or 50,000 euros over that year for that particular period. But my annual expenses would be about 40, 50, initially they would be 10 lakhs, 5 to 10 lakhs for 10 years I have spent from my own pocket to travel over the past 10 years. And after that, the year I was world president, I think I spent figures running in crores.
Yeah, so that is
my world presidency.
That is where
it costed a lot of money. I used to travel first class or business class, most of the time business class.
Yes.
Because I believe that if I have to travel and be fresh, I had to be comfortable.
True.
And I didn't want to economize and spoil my life on that.
Absolutely.
But I think it was worth every rupee that I spent.
True.
And the kind of love and affection of not members just from local associations but international association, I can share with you experiences of these where I have been received in Philippines at the aircraft door.
Wow.
My passport and immigration I have not I've gone through. Somebody has taken that, got my immigration and passport done. They've taken me to another block in a VIP chamber, have given me coffee, flown me in a helicopter to the developer's office, who's the president of FIAPSI. And my luggage was taken out, put in the wardrobe. My butler who was there, I can't even tell you the red carpet treatment, whether it's been so many countries. It's not just happened in one country. It's happened in so many international countries that I've traveled, where most of the members are affluent and very powerful people in those countries. And if a world president or a world president-elect is coming there, it's a kind of a celebration moment for them. And me being an Indian added that much more because they saw potential in India. And me as the ambassador of goodwill from India, representing them. So I always tell people whenever they ask me, how is it that you became a world president and got elected? I said, it's always my country that they saw me as the face of my country to be in. And that's how this happened.
Excellent. Farooq bhai, can you share one emotional moment out of everything? One best moment you had at a global organization when you were a FIAPSI world president. That really is a most memorable moment for your life.
Oh, there have been many. I've got people who've come, I think especially in the US, people come and flock around you, and it's in meetings, and especially in the meetings of NAR USA. Most of them are members of NAR and FIAPSI. Global members of NAR are also members of FIAPSI. So
Yes.
it's a common fraternity which is there. And wherever you go globally, you get invited to their homes, whether it's Germany. And, I still remember the president of a German federation. I stayed in his house. I've never stayed in anybody's house. He insisted that I stay in his house. He took me around all over. And in so many places, we get invited to their homes, especially the Europeans.
Yes.
A very close-knit community. You interact with them, have a drink in the club or the venue, and that's it. But the relationship that you built over the past years, they know your families. They've come to your homes. You visited their homes. They send friends to your homes for lunches, and somebody needs to be picked up at the airport. And when you have such requirements, I remember my family and I were on a cruise to Europe. And I didn't tell anybody, but Kirkor knew I was traveling. So every port in Europe, from Nice, he was in Turkey. He flew in when I came in there. He sent a car and a driver to pick me up in Nice port. The whole day, I had the car and driver with my family. We went to Monte Carlo, Cannes, everywhere. I took my family. It was a Mercedes Crusader or something like that, where 8-10, my two daughter-in-laws, my two sons, my wife and me and my grandchildren were comfortably in this car. They took us all around, and his flight landed at 4 o'clock. He came straight to his house. We had tea there, and my ship was sailing at 6:30. So every port, whether it was Barcelona, we went to Rome, every city, there was a representative member of FIAPSI waiting for us to take us around the city there and show us. And it was a feeling like, of family there. They would come and pick us up, take us in their car, 2 cars following, showing the whole family, the city, and then bring us back again to the ship in the evening, or take us where there was a port of call where we were staying the night. They would have a dinner for us. I mean, memories I cannot even tell you are so many. I mean, there have been fond memories, not just of overseas and international, but even in India, in any NAR India conference. I can tell you people flock by and, virtually say, Saab, I'm a friend of yours on Facebook. I saw you on so-and-so or this or that. So whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn, I have over 10,000 plus followers in LinkedIn.
Yes.
And Facebook, I think I've reached my maximum this thing there. But the love that I get from our fraternity, from our friends, is something that I think this is what drives me to do what I do.
I think
The love and affection of our members.
Absolutely.
Whether they're members or not of the organization, but the fraternity is something that I cannot get over.
So I think all our viewers must understand real estate is not about doing a business in your city or in your location. I think you should, think out of box and look at this gentleman. I think world is opportunity. So if Farouk bhai, anybody wants to join this organization, what are the process? How they can join FIAPSI?
I would say they should not just look at FIAPSI. They should join their local organization, like your organization is ARIA.
Yeah.
So if they join ARIA, they automatically join NAR India.
Right.
And the international part of NAR India, they can join NAR USA, or if they choose to join FIAPSI, they can join FIAPSI. There's a fee for corporates and companies, and there's a fee for individuals. There's also a fee for students, which is institutions, which is free. And
you have a youth wing also, if I am
sorry,
you have a youth wing also.
Yes, youth wing also. Under 35 is youth.
Yes.
I always say I'm young at heart, so I'm always a young member. So it's but any organization, I would say, if you see the potential of doing international organization, join your local organization, join NAR India through that local organization, join NAR USA, join FIAPSI, join any global organization where you see potential in doing business. And I can share experiences. One thing that came to my mind just now when you were telling me, it slipped my mind.
Please.
I remember a client in 1979-80, I think. I had stayed at the Radio Club in Bombay.
Yeah.
And I was a member of a club in Bangalore, which had an affiliation to Bombay Presidency Club, Radio Club.
Yes.
So I used to stay there initially a few times. So a lady contacted me, my office in Bangalore, and said, sir, you're in Bombay. Can I come and meet you? So she came and met me in Bombay. I just joined that business. Her husband was working in Saudi, in Aramco, one of the companies.
Yeah.
So I sold her a house in this Indranagar for 3.5 lakhs. That is in the 100 houses that we had sold at that sites that we had sold. Till today, she is a family friend.
Wow.
And when she came to Bangalore, I got her kids admitted in a school. The husband retired from his job and came to India, and I helped them. They started a restaurant in Bangalore Airport Road and a fast food takeaway. I helped them with a restaurant. Today, the son is a doctor in a very large hospital in Bangalore, a practicing doctor. The daughter is an IT professional, works for Ernst & Young or something, and based out of Dubai. And like this, I have hundreds of relationships across the world. And it's not just one generation that we're doing business with. Their generation, their kids, and my kids are friends, and they're doing business with my kids.
Excellent.
So, you know, it's an evolution, and it's not, a realtor is somebody who, or a real estate agent or a broker, who you develop your relationship. We share. Her mother died, and she called me. She said, we don't know how to go about with the burial process because we are from Bombay. So we organized for this whole thing.
Excellent.
I'm just saying, you know, you become a part of the family. You try and evolve around this whole thing. And, you know, it's not just, I can share just this one experience from getting the kids into their school to getting the kids into the, you know, of course, they got in by their own merits. But what I'm trying to say is, you've always built relationships. Like, you know, if there's a death or a wedding in the family, you're there. You're there when they need you. And, you know, I still get a call from her every birthday of mine to wish me on my birthday or my anniversary, an SMS or a message to say a happy anniversary or a happy. Earlier, she used to call me up, but now she sends me a WhatsApp message, not because of anything else, because she feels that I might be busy and she doesn't want to kind of disturb me. So we've built relationships like this. And there are some clients who swear by us and will not do any investments, even if it's with another agent, but they will take our opinion and then do that business. Not that I cut the business and say, no, you must do it with me. I tell them that this is the way that you should. And if it's a good place, and say, yes, you must go ahead with it and do it.
Excellent. You are also, you also created your Silverline Foundation, and you're also part of a Rotarian, which I'm really very proud of, you know, because I, being a Rotarian, I always love people who are in Rotary. So share something about these two organizations.
Silverline Foundation is a small foundation. We are a mom and pop organization. We are not a big thing, but we make a big thing about everything that we do. So it sounds a very big name, but it's just small money that we contribute towards whatever little that we can do towards paying back to humanity. In general, we've adopted a school with about close to 500 kids. And it's a government school that we've adopted. What I did was, after that, our Rotary approached me and we put up a block. We spent about 2 crores or 2.5 crores. We put up a block, a new block there. And it's a project between Rotary Bangalore Midtown and Silverline Foundation.
Excellent.
And the local MLA met me in a dinner and he contributed money from his MLA fund without me asking for it. I generally, you know, don't believe in politicians or politics, but he met me and told me, and I said, wonderful. And he said, this is my constituency. I would like to contribute. So I said, I'd love you to do that. And we invited him for the inauguration. And we've got kids studying out there. We have just completed that block about 2 years ago. We're still adding one more floor now, which might get completed in a couple of months. We've, you know, because of paucity of cash flows, the work was a little slow. But, you know, it gives you I've been a part of other organizations where we support 60,000 kids, as I mentioned to you earlier, in scholarships. All communities, caste, creed covered in that. And of course, Rotary has been a major influencer in whatever I have done in my life. I've been a Rotarian 25 years now, over 25 years. And I came close to being the president. I was of the Rotary Club. And then similar time is when I got elected as president-elect of FIAPSI. And I said, I can't do justice to Rotary and FIAPSI because our club is a very high profile, one of the most high profile clubs in Bangalore, where you can say the top industrialists, listed companies of Bangalore are all members of that. And I didn't want to give, even if they were not, I didn't want to give a treatment of playing second fiddle where I was running around the world and I would neglect the club. So I was elected vice president, and I was supposed to be president, and I resigned from it. I'm on the board right now. I've been community services director. I've been community director international services. I've been sergeant at arms. I played every role possible there in Rotary, and Rotary has been one of my major driving force with their 4-way test. That has been, I have applied to every day of my life has been the 4-way test. Has made me what I am today because of that. The 4-way test. And I would say that this 4-way test should be everybody's 4-way test in life, because this will tell you, this is a question and answer session with your conscience that you have.
Excellent. Great, sir. So my humble request to you, you have led all the international organization. Rotary is the first international organization I came and you must have come across in your life. So by not becoming a president of Rotary Club up till now, it is a loss of the community. So my sincere request to you, please be now you have got time. You must become the president of your club so that, that your experience and contacts and resources and your skill will be at a great help to the Rotary. So please do so. I'll be very, very happy.
I've been under pressure for that, but I'm waiting for the right time and opportunity to do it. In fact, last couple of months, they have requested me to do it, and I've told them, let me do it when I can do justice to the club and not before that. But otherwise, I'm always a humble worker with Rotary. I'll always be a humble worker.
Now, as you are free from other organizations in real estate, I would be very happy to see you as a president of Rotary Club. Great, sir. It was pleasure, interacting with you and knowing the other side of Mr. Farook Mahmood, whom I know for last 12 years. So there are a few personal, questions which I would like to ask, which always reflect the individual's personality. So what does success mean to Mr. Farook Mahmood?
Success is not about how many zeros you have in a bank account.
Amazing.
Because beyond a point, it doesn't matter. Because I say this to my kids and I say this to everybody. I'm 59 right now.
True.
God has been extremely kind to me. I've been healthy, I've been active, and one needs to kind of slow down in life, make room for others to come, and just be there when anybody needs you in any organization without holding any designation or a portfolio. Success doesn't mean you need to have a couple of crores or a couple of 100 crores worth of assets or your bank balances. Success, in my view, is sleeping peacefully in the night, looking at somebody in the eye that you don't owe them a rupee and you've not cheated anybody.
Super.
And you've been clean, you've been honest to the best of your ability. We're all human beings. Nobody is an angel. There's always been a possibility when you've climbed the ladder of success, you could have climbed on somebody's toe or somebody's shoulder. And I always say, today is the day where in Gujarati you say, Michi. Yeah. So this is what I would say to everybody. Can you repeat the word, sir? Michidam.
Michami Dukram.
Michadi Dukram. I have a lot of Gujarati friends who send me this message every year. And I would say I apologize to anybody if I've hurt you intentionally or unintentionally. And but I have never cheated anybody. That's one thing in my life. I might have hurt somebody unintentionally because in politics and in organizations, there have been moments where you come across certain circumstances which you really think about it at a late on hindsight. 2020, you could have said yes, you could have done this better, but that's always life. So I always believe that if I have done wrong, and I always say that if somebody has wronged me, I have forgiven him. And if I have done wrong to somebody else, today is the day where I would like to seek everybody's apology, seek pardon, and pray to the Almighty that in testing times like this, and in times where humanity is going through a phase in life which we have never gone through. All of us are in a situation where, there's a new normal. Today, a brother is not a brother where you can't hug him, or a sister or a mother. You are staying away from people to make sure that they remain healthy and you remain healthy, you remain safe and they remain safe. And the larger picture of the country, where there's so much of venom being sprouted out of who you are and what you are and your background, my appeal would be, let's all be good human beings, contribute to humanity in whichever way we are, because there is one God. People might call that God in different names, in different ways, but humanity is one, human beings being one, and being human is all that matters in humanity. And as long as you're a good human being, you can, and you'll be a good Indian, you'll be a good Muslim, you'll be a good Hindu, you'll be a good Christian, you'll be a good everybody as long as you're a good human being. So my message to everybody would be, let's be good human being first. Religion is something personal and private within the four walls of your house and within your heart. It doesn't really play any role in the exterior. You are free. And I wish happiness to all, success to all, in my view, as being a good human being, and not by the number of zeros that you have. A profession, most people think that, a realtor's profession, being a broker, I always feel proud to be known as a broker. I call myself a broker because, there's a stock broker, there is a real estate broker, there's people call you as channel partners, they call you professionals. If you're a member of the National Association of Realtors and pay $75 a year, you can call yourself a realtor. Otherwise, you can't. This is one message that I want to clear to everybody. You cannot call yourself a realtor unless you pay $75 and you're a member of the National Association of Realtor, because this word is owned by them. There is no such word as realtor. It's a proprietary rights of the National Association of Realtors USA.
I'm sure you must be following Bollywood. So who is your favorite actor and actress from Bollywood?
Bollywood, Aishwarya Rai is my favorite.
Okay.
Before that used to be Madhuri Dixit.
Excellent.
And of late, I've not been following either. And my star that I really looked upon was, one was Dilip Kumar and second was Amitabh Bachchan.
Excellent. Very good. You are a keen sportsman. So any sports person you really admire? Who is your sports hero?
Sunil Gavaskar used to be my, my icon. In my earlier youth, I think it used to be Gavaskar.
Yes.
And there are many after that, but I think Gavaskar was.
Any books you have read which has helped you in your life or changed something in your thought process?
I must tell you, talking about books, when I was in school, my greatest learning was my books. I had about 3,500 books.
Wow.
In my library.
I never knew that. Nobody knew that.
I can say that the reason partly of my success has been my knowledge, which I have acquired by reading. I used to read one book every night. Wow. Whether it used to be, when I was in school, it used to be Enid Blyton, Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Alfred Hitchcock, then Leon Ury. I can go on and on. And then there used to be, Biggles used to be another character, one of my favorite things. So I think reading is a habit which can change your life. So your education is through your reading.
Any particular books you would suggest our viewer to read, which is amazing book for your life?
I think Don't Do, Delegate. It was by Iacocca, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Don't Do, Delegate.
In today's world, everybody say, all corporate trainers say delegate, delegate, delegate.
Correct. So this is what this also says. Don't do, delegate.
Yeah, don't do and delegate. Amazing.
Yes, delegate is what this thing.
Very true.
I think Leah Iacocca.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you.
He used to be I think head of General Motors GM.
Yes. So you, being a very successful leader from different walks of life in professionally and socially, any one political leader across the world which has made impact in your life or your thought process, whom you admire as a leader?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Excellent.
The only man I can admire. Apart from him, all are politicians, but he is not a politician. He is a leader.
Absolutely. And one life-changing moment of your entire life, which you can recollect?
There have been many. Every time, from cradle to grave, there's always a new learning experience. You thought you've learned something, but you've not, because the next experience teaches you to be more careful in what you're doing and more prudent in what you're doing, and being less impulsive. But I think from your heart to be successful is my motto. They might not achieve the right results from an economic perspective, but from a satisfaction perspective, your heart can never go wrong. When I mean heart, it's your conscience that at the end of the day, that is the thing that will really help you to look at things.
Interesting. Amazing, Mr. Farook. I think it was pleasure to interact with you, and I came to know a lot of things which I never knew about you. Like you were an avid reader. I too read a lot, but it's amazing feeling and experience to interact with you. One final question for you, which I always used to, understand that how to become a global networker. I mean, you're a powerful network. So tell our viewer that what are the basic points if you want to be a successful networker? Because I always tell people, if you are not networking in today's world, you are not working. And how can it help to grow your business? What are do's and don'ts in being a good networker?
Well, there are masters who have written books on this, on networking and in growth. But my one thing that I have personally practiced is not just globally, but locally. You need to give first to get. You need to be a giver first to get anything in life. First give to receive. And don't give with the intention to receive, but just give, and give. And you will automatically receive. And when I mean receive, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about respect. I'm talking about love. I'm talking about admiration. If all these things are there, money is just a byproduct which will find its way to your organization. You need to be a giver first in whatever you do. You need to first be a giver in whatever you do. Even a smile to somebody is giving.
Absolutely.
Pointing out to something and saying, correcting somebody is giving. I mean, even, somebody stops you on the road.
True.
Asks you for direction, that's giving.
Excellent. Very good. I think to conclude with this wonderful thought of life, this can change your life. If you are giver and without expectation, I think giving gives you a lot of happiness.
Yes.
If you want to be successful and happy, I think give. First you be giver, and then rest of the thing will automatically place in a
absolutely. And give without expectations.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you, Mr. Farook Mahmood, for being kind enough to come today at Broker Ki Paathshala. And I'm sure with this platform, there are lots of new generation brokers coming in. They will find some value out of the sharing from successful people in real estate industry. Today we had a great success story from Bangalore. We are covering top 8 cities in the first phase. So in first season, we are having a 10th session each Saturday. So today is the 8th session. So before I conclude, let me present on behalf of everybody, though we are online, Farouk Bhai. So we are presenting a certificate of appreciation to all our speakers. So please accept this as a token of love and appreciation from all viewers and Square Feet Foundation. I also learned from Rotary as you. So we have formed the foundation, and all these activities of Broker Ki Paathshala is done under Square Feet Foundation. I have a vision to share knowledge what I have learned in last 33 years. I will, those people whom I know like you, I am inviting those kind of resources and share it with all the brokers, next generation, so that when we go from this world, let them remember us that we have done some contribution to our profession, and our industry. So please accept this, Mr. Farook Mahmood, certificate of appreciation, Broker Ki Paathshala, an initiative by Square Feet Foundation, to express our gratitude to Mr. Farook Mahmood for his gracious presence and significant contribution in making Broker Ki Paathshala great success. We are pleased to sponsor 100 meals under Annapurna project by Rotary Club of Mumbai, Dahisar, which will provide food for the underprivileged. Signed by myself on 22nd August 2020.
And how much does this cost, Vinod?
This is 15 rupees per meal.
So, how much is it? 100 meals is about...
100 meals is 1,500 bucks.
Okay. So, the next 1,000 meals...
Yes.
I would like to contribute to it, and I'll send you a check in
yes.
either your Rotary Foundation or your foundation that you require, that you're doing.
I'll share the details of Rotary. We both are Rotarians, so we...
so, I must thank you for giving me the pleasure and honor of joining this forum and being a part of this wonderful session. There's so many things about myself that I had forgotten that you asked me, and I went down memory lane, which I have not discussed or thought of it in years together.
True.
And it's been a kind of a awakening moment even for me with some of the questions that you raised, and it's a thought-provoking thing from this session. And I wish you all the success in your personal capacity, Vinod Thakkar, and wish Square Foot all the very best in your growth programs. Ours is a mom and pop organization,
yes.
Which is based out of Bangalore. You've got your footprint or your square footage across India.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I wish you all the success. And but I can tell you one thing.
Yes.
No dream is too big, and no dream is too small. If you dream big, and if the Almighty wishes that to happen to you, nothing or nobody no power on earth can stop you from achieving what you have. And God will guide you through as long as you remain sincere, honest, and have this feeling of, supporting whatever you're doing with the right cause. Absolutely. I think you will always be successful. And successful, again, let me tell you, is not just the zeros in your bank balance, but success can be attained to any part of life. I mean, God has been kind that I have success in every part of whatever I have done. It can be measured in monetary aspect, but that's not the be all or end all. I know of a lot of people who are successful who do not have money, and I look up to them as my gurus.
True.
Money is not the factor that I look upon as a person who I can be guided by.
Great. Amazing thought, sir. Thank you very much. And please stay for a moment when I announce our next Saturday speaker to our viewer. Can we have the slide? Friends, next Saturday is the 9th session, and we will be having among us the president of NAR India. So this will be the 8th city of India, Hyderabad. From Hyderabad, Mr. Sumant Reddy. Please block your time, 12 o'clock afternoon on next Saturday, 29th of August, to learn and understand the Hyderabad market, the story of this young person who later on now is the president of NAR India. So looking forward to all of you. Please send your suggestion or thoughts to us, which will help us to make this program even better for our fraternity. And send your detail for participation certificate. Once again, on behalf of all the viewers of India, Mr. Farook Mahmood, thank you very much. It was really indeed pleasure for me to see the other side of Mr. Farook Mahmood, though I knew for last 12 years about the professional side of Mr. Farook Mahmood. But I admire you for your style. I admire you for your global networking style. And I admire you for your sincere contribution to not only real estate, but to the humanity. Thank you very much for being there. See you later in the live. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.